Hey everyone, it is good to be with you on Read Through the Word. Today is September the 14th, and we meet a new person, several new people, in our story as we walk through the pages of God's great Word. And the story of Esther is such a great story to read and to find that it is right in the middle. It is right in the middle of all of the rebuilding. Is so fascinating because in our traditional Bible, it's not here. It's set up in a different place. So to place it historically and chronologically where it goes, it makes everything so fascinating that all of this was going on while Ezra and the people are trying to rebuild. It is just truly amazing when you put it all in perspective. But I want to take a look at specifically over in Esther chapter 4 verse 14 is where we're going to look at take our lesson from today. And Esther has been, first off, by the way, I have decided that it was not all that great to be a queen. Now, in my day where I live, I certainly don't mind when someone wants to treat me like a queen should be treated. But these queens, it says here, she would never go to the king again unless he had specifically enjoyed her and requested her by name. And he had all kinds of queens. So I just decided, I think I just don't want to be a queen. Not in this day. So anyways, that was just my fun note to myself here. But here we have Mordecai is the cousin of Esther and has come to her for help because he's heard of the plan to annihilate the people, the God's people, the Jewish people, the Jews, and needs her help. And here's the thing. This phrase that we say, I say it a lot, and I venture to say that you do. This phrase is, for such a time as this, we this, and for such a time as this, maybe you'll do this, and for such a time as this. I use that phrase a lot. But here's the thing. How do we really know? Who knows actually whether we are in, when we take those moments of reflection, if we really are in such a time as this moment, right? Because it's certain that we all have them. So it had me thinking a lot about that. Esther was orphaned. She's raised by her uncle. She's kind of reluctant to say yes to her such a time as this moment. And I wonder if she really did she wonder, wait a minute, I hear what Morty's saying, but how do I know if this really is my such a time as this moment? How do I figure that out? And maybe you have wondered the same thing, and perhaps you're in one of those places right now where you feel something, you feel a stirring, or maybe someone has come to you like Morty came to Esther and said this, and you're like, I don't know. Let me see. How do we know? Well, we can look at Esther and Mordecai's example and kind of glean some information and some encouragement on how we would truly know whether this is actually a such a time as this moment for me. First off, Esther truly trusted Mordecai. And believed him to speak honestly and truthfully into her life. And this trust was not something that was gained haphazardly. It wasn't something that was put upon her without a great investment of her heart and of her soul. They were family. Mordecai had taken her in, but there was this bond between them, and she knew that she could trust Mordecai. And that's so important. And then she knew where to go for support. She says further down in that same chapter, go and gather together all the Jews of Susa and fast for me. Do not eat or drink for 3 days, night or day. Wow. My maids and I will do the same. And then, though it is against the law, I will go see the king. If I must die, I must die. So she knew where to go for support, but she also knew how to get clear confirmation. She knew that the best way to get confirmation on this request and this word from this trusted friend and family member, Mordecai, was to take it to God, to the great God, to the Holy One, to Yahweh. That's who she had to take it to. There's no doubt that she knew about this. She knew about praying because she went right to the idea about praying and fasting. And then she says she knew she needed to pray, she needed to fast, but then she was willing to risk her life to obey. So do we know, is there such a time as this moment, something that we know so confidently that we would be willing to risk our wellness? And I'm going to use the term wellness. I mean, it's life or death here for Esther. And I'm not trying to downplay that, the risk that she took to obey what was confirmed in her heart. But I'm going to lighten it a little bit for us in modern day, because it is not very often that we are given that choice of life and death. There may be some wellness, some security, some comfort involved that we would be risking. Maybe our job, maybe a relationship, maybe some general health issues. But it's unlikely that at the sound of my voice that there are many people out in our community, our Read Through the Word community, that actually risk their life to obey God. I'm not saying it's not out there. I'm just saying it's a small percentage. So am I willing to risk wellness? Am I willing to risk comfort? Am I willing to risk security to obey God? These are the things that Esther did. So these are the things I want us to ask us when we're evaluating, is this such a time as this moment for me? Do I have someone in my life I truly trust? Well, there are lots of people in my life that I truly trust. But is there one or two people, and it may just be one or two persons, that I know when they say something to me that I need to really listen? That I know there's a history of this person speaking truth into my life, hard truth into my life. Truth that's not easily digestible, truth that's not easily processed, that I have to sit with for a day or two and then get back to that person because I just don't quite like what they said and I don't understand what they said. But here's the thing. I know that these people are for me, not against me. So even if what they're saying sounds off to me and makes me think, I know I can trust what they're saying. And I truly hope that everyone has one of these people in their lives, a Mordecai type person in their life. And if you don't have one of those, I want you to begin to ask God for one of those, because everyone needs one. And I have several in my life that I know, one in particular on a regular basis will just say, well, the Spirit said something to me, but I'm not sure He's ready for me to tell it to you yet. And I'll be, okay, I'm going to sit with it. I'll leave it there. And then there's another person that I see rarely, but she's a good friend, but our paths don't cross very often. But when she says something to me, I'm like, oh, okay, I need to listen to that. So I pray that you have somebody, and if you don't, you start praying for someone like that in your life, like a Mordecai type person. Do you know where to go for support? Do you have a few friends? And I don't mean you need to have a whole nation behind you. I mean just a few friends. a couple of people, even if it's just one? Do you have someone for support? And do you know where to go and what to do for confirmation? Go straight to God. Do you need to fast? Do you need to give up something? What is it that God needs? How does God communicate to you confirmation? And hopefully you have a past history of that with God, and you know and understand that level of communication that you and God have. And then lastly, are you willing to risk personal wellness? Are you willing to do whatever has been confirmed to you? That this is my such a time as this moment. Now, it's highly unlikely that the fate of a nation will rest on your shoulders in your such a time as this moment. But is there the salvation of a coworker that is maybe resting on your obedience and your confirmation to what God is laying on your heart to do? You're such a time as this moment. Is it the rescue of a friend in need? Is it the well-being of someone that you don't even know, but someone that you see frequently in your community that just needs a hand up? So what is your such a time as this moment? Maybe you're facing that today, and hopefully this lesson will be able to help you answer that question of who knows. We'll see you tomorrow, right back here on Read Through the Word.